Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Arthritis at Home. I'm Cheryl Koehn. I'm with Arthritis Consumer Experts who hosts this terrific program. And I couldn't be happier to be sitting in the studio today with a really dear colleague and friend, Ms. Laura Wingate. Welcome to the studio, Laura.
Cheryl, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, before we dive into our chat, let me tell the audience why we're sitting here together virtually and give them a bit of a taste of who you are. So, for our audience, we're here to talk to Laura about a webinar that just went live on their website that talks about and shares a very important issue with her constituency in the United States, as well as ours here in Canada. And that's on patients and patents. And we'll get into that in a second. But first, Laura is a graduate of the University of Rochester School of Arts and Sciences and holds certificates in leadership and management, entrepreneurship and innovation, and strategy from Harvard Business School online. She also earned a Reducing Racial Disparity in Healthcare certificate from Harvard online. She's a Harvard girl, love it. She began her career working at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, where she advised and implemented quality improvement initiatives, including redesigning the outpatient center to streamline the patient experience, and worked with pediatric and geriatric centers, pardon me, across the United States to implement innovative programs over 8 years. Laura joined the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, her home now, with a strong desire to make a difference for people living with chronic illness. As the Chief Education Support and Advocacy Officer, Laura oversees patient and professional education, state and federal advocacy, and supporting programming for the foundation. So just a wee little job you've got there at Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.
I'm never bored.
I could say it's funny. Every time I send you an email or drop you a note, I get an out of office. I'm traveling today, but we'll be back tomorrow. And you're outstanding at getting back to people, I will add. But I don't envy you your travel schedule. Anyway, it's such a pleasure and a real honor for me to be sitting here with you today. You're a dear colleague and friend, which is almost better. But we're here to talk to people today about this webinar that was just launched by Crohn's and Colitis Foundation in the US. And it's focusing on the Patients and Patents campaign, which is an educational campaign that is really focused on delivering, kind of in a very lay language way, information on patents and why patents are actually something patients should know about. I often say, Laura, it's the thing that's the furthest away from the bedside. But you're going to tell us why it's really important. So, in your own words, why educate patients, people living with Crohn's and colitis, the people you serve, caregivers, and healthcare professionals about patents? Why is it important?
Yeah, it's so important to understand patents because they are part of our access strategy. So, in order for everyone to have access to the amazing drugs that are out there, we need patents to protect and get innovation in the drug company. But there's another side to patents is in some cases, patents are used to delay entry of generics and biosimilars. And so it's really important for people with any disease, in my case, the Crohn's and colitis community, their caregivers, and the healthcare professionals who care for everybody to understand the roles patents play, and how changing our patent environment in all of our countries could speed up access to much needed generics and biosimilars for the community. And that's why we're educating our constituents about patents in the United States.
Yeah, so Crohn's and Colitis Foundation in the US, working closely with yourself and our colleague in Australia, down under, Deidre McKechnie, who is with the Australia Patient Advocacy Alliance and Arthritis Consumer Experts, the organization that I work for. We've partnered to launch this campaign. And your point about the international breadth of it, I think is super, super important. So it's not just important for patients, healthcare professionals, and policymakers to know, and elected officials to know about patents. It's people on the ground like us who are living with some type of chronic disease. How can this information, Laura, how can it help lead to improving access to care? Kind of give us in a nutshell what you're thinking.
Yeah, I think by understanding how patents work, it can improve access because people can go out and talk to their legislators
Right.
about changing policy and regulatory environments that are governing how patents are used in our country. And by raising the voice of the people to the elected officials in our country, we can change this environment and encourage patents to be used to encourage innovation, but then also ensure that the expirations on patents, which they all have, are adhered to so that innovation in the biosimilar and generic space can take place.
Yeah, it's really that life cycle of medications, isn't it?
Yeah.
Companies are incentivized to create, to innovate. They're given a very long patent.
Mhm.
Usually it's about 20 years to earn back their investment, make profit. And the theory is, it should then some of those profits flow back into the innovation pipeline and new
Right.
medicines are created. I always think, as a patient myself, Laura, I have rheumatoid arthritis. And if there's companies, if they're out there doing, playing monkey business with patents. So how is that done? Well, they file for additional patents for really tiny changes in their formulation or the device that's delivering, if it's in the case of a biosimilar. Those things delay a more affordable medicine from coming into the marketplace.
Right.
Well, if I'm sitting in the clinic with my physician and I'm trying to make a therapy change, and the one I need to change to is the one that's having patent manipulation at play, I'm
Mhm.
not able to choose that because the more competitive, lower cost medication isn't in my medicine chest, so to speak.
Right. It's not available.
It's not available, and
Right.
it's also creates huge inequity issues. So
Absolutely.
people who have, tons of money can just go out and buy it.
Mhm.
If they don't have great health insurance but can afford the drug that's not on the drug insurer's formulary, they just go out and pay for it. Well, that's not true for most Americans, right? So this
Yeah.
is a big problem. So are there concerns if we know then that there's something happening back in the patent offices that's that's changing this life cycle, right? What are the concerns about innovation and new drug development when patent reform take place? Like, are there real concerns here?
I want to ensure that patients and everybody understands that when we talk about patent reform, we're not talking about changing the protections of the
Right.
patent. We want that to stay
Yes.
in place and we want that innovation. We want those companies to make back so that they can reinvest in new therapies and new diagnostics, et cetera. What we want to change is when that patent's about to expire, we want the regulations to limit and not allow for those minor tweaks to be allowed, or strategies like pay to delay to be allowed. We want the entry of the generic or the biosimilar to hit when that patent expires, so that we can get the drugs to market for the people that need them and to get them out and reduce the disparities that we see, whether it's socioeconomic or the communities may not know that these alternatives are available. We really want to ensure that all of FDA in the United States,
Yeah.
FDA approved medications are made available, whether they're innovators, generics, or biosimilar.
Yeah, and the webinar, I think, really touches quite nicely on that and explains it. So
Yeah.
what I'm hearing you say is this is the campaign we're partnering on is not an
Yes,
anti-patent campaign at all.
exactly. Not
In,
at all.
if anything, it's, pro patents,
Yep.
but also pro fairness. And when the patent is up, please don't do all kinds of legal maneuvering to extend the patent life, which then
Mhm.
blocks competition. You've had
Exactly.
lots of time to make money, lots of time to reinvest and innovate. It's now the turn of the generic and biosimilar companies to come in and provide their product at a lower price. So I hear that loud and clear. If we are, let's pretend we're sitting in front of a room full of our constituents,
Mhm.
folks with arthritis, folks with Crohn's and colitis. What actions would you specifically encourage people and organizations to take because of this campaign?
Yeah, so there's two things I would encourage. One, get educated, go to
Yeah.
Patients and Patents, understand, go to your resources and the foundation's resources here in the US and learn as much as you can so that you understand how this impacts you and your family or your medical practice. And then sign up as an advocate with your disease organization. Typically, we have a website, you sign up and we get you into our list and we start activating you and giving you opportunities to participate in changing policy, regulations, and talking to the decision makers in your country.
Yeah, I mean, it's really that simple, isn't it?
Mhm.
And I want to say, Laura, I'm sure you feel the same way. When you become an advocate for something, it's because you know about it, you
Mhm.
believe in the rightness of taking a stance. You, if you're living with the disease, or even if you're caring for someone as an informal caregiver, so family member, friend, partner, you own the moral authority to speak out. You are living the experience. And that really is power. And advocacy is also good medicine. I always
Mhm.
feel like when I get involved in something and I roll up my sleeves and I'm working with other people, volunteering with other people, and I see some progress being made, there is a health benefit to that.
Yes.
You do, and there's research actually to support that. You get a health benefit from that because you have more knowledge and you understand the way medications come through both a legal process, patent process, and a regulatory process. You will enjoy a higher health literacy overall. So I think those are additional reasons to get involved. And I think because arthritis, Crohn's, and colitis, folks who are in our communities, these are lifelong
Absolutely.
diseases. We're in it for life until they find cures. And
Mhm.
hopefully that's what we're all working
Yes.
towards, right? But until we do, we're a village. We have to stick together
Mhm.
and fight for the right in order for everyone to enjoy better health care, better medicines that address their specific medical needs. So we're just so happy that you took time to sit with us, Laura. We congratulate you on the launch of this incredible webinar. We'll be promoting it far and wide because it doesn't matter where you live, actually. This patent manipulation, patent abuse is happening, sadly, around the world.
Yeah.
And so, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the United States or in Europe, South America, this topic really matters and is relevant to your own health context. So, thank you again, Laura. I cannot wait till the next time we're in each other's company so I can give you a big hug. But until then, just really appreciate all the work that you're doing, all the work that Crohn's and Colitis Foundation in the United States does for its community. It's amazing. I'm a follower and a believer. And we have diseases actually that cross over,
Yeah.
which is, I think, a very interesting. It's a whole other arthritis at home topic for us in the future.
Agreed.
Yeah. For our audience, at the end, you're going to find a link to the webinar that Laura and I have been talking about. You're going to find a link to the campaign that we're co-leading, patientsandpatents.info, and other interesting information on Crohn's and colitis. So please hang on until the end and you can see those resources. And until our next episode, we wish you well. We thank you again, Laura. And we'll see you next time, everyone.